Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central and putting the spotlight on MakeMyTrip. Well, the company has delivered a record $10.4 billion in gross bookings for FY26 in constant currency terms. In fact, the company has also seen its revenue grow by 10.7%, with strong momentum being seen across all verticals. But can these numbers be sustained given the global economy is feeling the jitters of the aftermath of the West Asia war and tariffs? Well, to discuss that and more, I'm now joined by Rajesh Magow. He's the Group CEO of MakeMyTrip. Thank you very much, Mr. Magow, for taking the time out and joining us here on Startup Central. Now, first, talking about the earnings, well, the company has delivered a record $10.4 billion of gross bookings for FY26. This is amidst a tough macro environment. Can you give us a sense of the quarter-on-quarter analysis or a year-on-year analysis to bring about the kind of gains that you have sort of factored in from the India market, from your overseas markets, and what really drove these encouraging figures?
You're right. I mean, the year has been actually quite challenging, given the macro conditions and various things. Like pretty much last year, every quarter there was some disruption or the other. Like I don't think there was any quarter that was spared from, general macro disruption, which was not in our control. Now, if you see the performance of MakeMyTrip for the entire year in light of that, I think it's a pretty good performance. We've delivered. In terms of year on year, if you look at the numbers, if you look at adjusted margin numbers for us, every segment has grown double-digit year on year for full year on a constant currency basis, which is effectively like to like, given that our overwhelming portion of our business is in INR, and therefore we typically look at results on constant currency basis. Whether it is a air segment or it is hotel and packages or it is ground transport led by bus segment or other segment, very healthy double-digit growth. In fact, the lowest double-digit growth was in air, which was about 10%, which is commendable because the disruption in the aviation market was perhaps the maximum. As you know, whether it was Air India crash or starting with terrorist attack that happened, that certain markets were not necessarily doing well. So if you see the results in light of all the disruptions that happened in the last year, I think it was pretty good results.
In fact, Mr. Magow, you have spoken quite a bit about the AI assistant, the Myra assistant that you have. So when we talk about the bookings that were driven by AI, give us a sense of that. What were the kind of efficiencies that were brought about by AI, and where all did AI deployment yield returns for you?
Yeah, no, very, very interesting question. See, AI has been at the forefront for us, right at the core for our overall strategy, let alone, tech and product strategy. And there are two or three very important areas that not only we've been in, making investment over the years, but we've started to see some, sort of green shoots coming out of that in terms of whether it's productivity gain or it is, the new platform that we had recently, sort of an upgraded version that we had launched called Myra, which is a conversational interface, multilingual voice feature, is helping us get some new user acquisition from tier 3, tier 4 cities where people prefer to talk more in their local language, and while they would be on internet, they have the mobile phone, but they were not necessarily buying travel online or doing any shopping online. So we have seen about on an average about 54,000 conversations happening a day. In fact, recently the conversations on that particular interface touched about 80,000 a day. So far, Myra platform has actually assisted about 200,000 bookings that have happened, on our platform. So that is one area. The other area is the customer service area, and then the third area is the software development.
All right, sir. So a lot of focus is going to be on the domestic economy, but travel as a whole is not going to be curtailed. It's not going to have a massive impact. One final question before we let you go, and this has to be on the much talked about IPO of MakeMyTrip. So what are the timelines that you're working with? Last we heard that the company had shown an intent to explore the IPO. Where are things as of now?
Like we have sort of reported out as we were declaring our results yesterday, we called it out. It's a very early stage of the process, and what we had shared, during the last quarter was that we had just shared the intent of sort of exploring the Indian stock market, given the stock market has come a long way, specifically for a lot of the internet stocks that are now listed on the Indian Stock Exchange, and very early stage of the process. We'll have to just keep going through the process, and when we are in a better position to share some definitive sort of timelines or decision, we'll definitely come back and share. But right now, as I speak, it's very early stage.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for us to wrap this edition of the show, Startup Central. Write to us at suc@etnow.tv and share your feedback with us about the show, on what you'd like to watch on the show, and the kind of conversations and discussions that you want us to have on Startup Central. We'll be eagerly looking forward to hearing from all of you. On that note, thank you very much for joining us. Goodbye.